Ryan here from TKK Collector Channel. Let's talk a little bit about the Canadian card market. So the reason I'm doing this video is I recently had some conversations with some other local sellers. And when I say local sellers, they're online guys. They're people who don't have a physical store, much like myself. They do rip and ships. They will do a lot of the small card events, or let's call them, the pseudo flea market style events where it's just tables set up. And they've been telling me that things have been really difficult here in Canada, here on the East Coast, really difficult in the last 2 months. Things are not moving the way they usually move, which means they're not going to be able to pay their, well, they'll be able to pay it, but it means they're not sort of flipping the cards that they buy from distribution. And it's a tough spot to be in. I too get to that point where, let's say I have, a $7,000 distributor bill. So I bought these cards and I can only sell maybe $4,000. I think I talked about this on the channel before. I've only sold $4,000 worth of product. The only way for me to make up that difference, the difference to order to pay that bill, is to be selling the stuff that I already have from previous acquisitions, previous things. Singles are always the most important thing for generating revenue. So, I'll try to sell as much singles slabs as possible so that when that bill comes due, I can pay in full. I don't have to carry that debt. I really like when you could sell most of what you have and sort of make up the difference between that bill, but very often it doesn't happen. You're selling, and that's, I think, the cycle. After you've in it for a couple of years, you're in this cycle where you want to sell as much as possible so that you have enough revenue to be able to pay off what you're spending. And I think the Canadian market, it's more difficult. Maybe it's this side of the coast, but we get really shafted with shipping fees in Canada. And that's why I've told a lot of these guys that, focus on local, work local. And it's probably true in Quebec and Ontario. The only thing that you could really ship reliably, not even reliably, I had Canada Post lose some packages of mine. And when that happens, got a refund. Oof. But, and you basically lose the entire value of the order. And, it hurts customer relationships when stuff just doesn't show up. Thank you, Canada Post. And it's been crazy. Canada Post, I've been dealing constantly with customer service inquiries. Where's my package? It's been more than 4 weeks and it hasn't arrived. Most people, I'll say, will give it a little bit of time, and most times it'll arrive, but it shouldn't take 4 weeks to get from here in Halifax to Ontario. It just shouldn't, for a letter mail, for Canada postage. Anyway, rant over. So what these other guys have been telling me is that the market is down for them, which means they're not going through as many packs during the rip and ship, which is fair. I think people are getting outside because, there's this brightness outside that people like to enjoy called the sun. It's not so prevalent here in the winter, but you get to see it a lot more. So people are not spending as much time in front of their phones, therefore not doing the rip and ship. People are still buying singles. And you hear in the United States, they talk about the alt art craze. It went all to the peaks. It peaked here too. I sold quite a few alt arts. I also took in quite a few alt arts, as they were peaking. Luckily, I was able to, get them to new owners before there's, much of a dip. But, it's part of it, right? Constantly cycling, taking stuff in, getting it to other people. And I think that's the big role that I think is the best for Kai and I's store, is just sort of being that hub where people can come and rehome stuff. Trade-ins. I've heard other YouTubers talk about this. CNA Games talks about this. Trade-ins are the best thing. That's why people take trade-ins at card shows. If you can, let's say, take it in at 75% and sell it at 85%, bang, 10% margin. And in the industry right now, 10% margin is good. It's very good. I was talking to Kai at the bus stop this morning. We just got an order. I'm like, oh, nice, another $100 order. And he asked me some questions, well, did you make money? And well, I told them, well, we were running a big sale. So I said, we probably gave them a really good discount. We still have to pay for shipping. So this $100 sale, we maybe have $10 as profit. Now this is not including, labor to ship and having the web store and shipping costs yet. We still have to add like $3, $4 in stamps. It's not even track shipping and stamps. I have to add all that stuff up. But, $10. And he's like, well, that's good. I'm like, yeah, but unfortunately last night we had to refund a $111 order in order for us to maintain a good customer relationship, because this Canada Post lost the envelope. It's gone. It's been 4 weeks, no sign of it. And when that happens, I took the choice to ship that $100 order in letter mail. I should have used tracking, but I didn't. Canada Post, it disappeared. It happens. It could even show up tomorrow. So I said, I'm going to refund you. Feel free to contact me if it does show up, and you can choose to pay me if you want. Hopefully it shows up and that happens. But so yeah, lost $100. And am I saying, well, it's not really $100, Kai. It's like maybe $80 in cards we lost. Like that's what we accepted trade in value for, or we flipped those cards for. So we didn't lose a full 100, but we definitely, on paper, we lost 100, but maybe $80 in cards, because the margins that we expected from those cards, gone. So unfortunately, that's the life of a seller. Sometimes stuff gets lost. Not suspicious of the person, but suspicious of how Canada Post could lose stuff, especially when they did this increase in prices. This chaos all started really when they increased price. Like, everyone has been reporting that things are taking forever to get to them, ever since they upped the stamp prices about 3 weeks ago. And it's not just me. I've looked at the Facebook groups. A lot of people are talking about things just taking forever from Canada Post over the last couple of weeks. And there's something fishy going on. And Canada Post will never say anything. I know that we have some Canada Post viewers, and maybe they can chime in. But yeah, things have just been a little bit chaotic in terms of stuff not showing up. So back to the market. Sorry guys. Market talk. So things are down. People are not buying as much sealed product. And these other guys, they focus on sealed. I think I'm one of... They're trying to get into singles. They're trying to get into that, but I don't know if they see like the fun, the joy of dealing with singles that I do. So it's probably more of a necessity. They definitely do the big cards, right? They'll open packs and they'll get the big cards. I think they'll open packs in their stream. They'll get a big hit. And they'll sell that single, sure, or they'll grade and flip. But they don't really do I think they're trying to do the trading credit, because I've told them it's the only way to sort of cycle more, to have more customers, is to be able to bring in the singles buyers. Because, like, I will honestly say 80% of our revenue is through singles. So yes, we'll spend $7,000 on sealed product, but for the most part, that sealed product will go to people who are trading in singles. They'll trade in $1,000 in singles, and they'll get $1,000 of product. And because I could have that same $1,000 of sealed product sitting on my website, and it's not as profitable. It's people don't buy it online. They don't want to pay shipping. I don't charge much for shipping, $5, but people still, they don't want to wait. But I have some people who are, very serious collectors, very serious investors. They'll keep a lot of stuff sealed, and they get a huge amount of fun from opening packs. And it's their entertainment, as I talked many times before. It's their entertainment for themselves, their kids. They rip packs. So singles, and they're starting to get into singles. But you go to their tables at these events that they run, and it's just all sealed product, or a spin wheel or something like that. Singles is hard. I've talked about singles before. I like doing singles because you get to see the cards, 4-pack arts versus all the cards that are in it. It's amazing. And you probably see my TikToks or my Instagrams where I'll do like an unboxing of singles that I get in from Trade Credit. And one of my favorite things to do. Now, the market itself, Um, we're very different than the US market. I've only this by looking at the market a lot. You see these really cheap boxes in the United States. They call it what 95 USD. You don't really see those cheap boxes here in Canada. Probably due to the distributor. There's very few distributors here in Canada, so there's less so people selling. I think the cheapest I've seen is some sellers are selling online for basically exactly the distributor price that we might get. And they're it's going to be difficult for them. I think they're just trying to up their allocation numbers. But we don't see in Canada the same cheap booster boxes. You very rarely see a booster box for 140 Canadian, which is 100 US. Very rarely you see it below that. Very rarely. If you do, it's usually someone who went to the States, bought a couple of cases, and drove back to Canada and sell them. Um, but what we also don't, we'll see like this constant 159, 169 for a box when it's readily available. When you start to see prices rise, you will see the Canadian prices go up to like 189. That's because the distributor is now selling at 180. Then you'll see it at 200. Distributors selling it at 199. Our prices in Canada are very much dictated by the distributor, and I think it probably applies to Canada. Less so supply and demand, more so the distributor. And what happens though is we'll see the booster box in the United States, like Lost Origin, hit 260, hit 280 US. If we put it on sale in Canada for 260, there would be very few people buying at that. It's odd. Like we've had that Lost Origin. We've had Lost Origin booster boxes, and we cannot get 260 Canadian for them, even though in the States they're paying 240, 250, 260 US. So it's a very different market in Canada. I continue to say it's if you're going to be selling Pokemon cards, it's volume and distribution is they very rarely do a lot of favors. They just serve their purpose for Canadian online sellers. Um, I don't know if they help out brick and mortars much. I hope they do, because anyway, the market is down in Canada. People are not buying as much. I bought maybe half as much as I did for Twilight Masquerade, and I probably sold only half of what I bought, which is unusual. I really like to hit that sold 70 or 80% of what I bought by the time the distributor bill comes in. Luckily, I've been trying to churn a lot of singles and I can get through, but I was really hoping to be able to go bigger in the future, and market downturns, it makes everybody contract. So we're definitely seeing that in Canada right now. We do not see the booster boxes, the old Sword and Shield, going up as fast as what you see in the United States. And what will start to happen is I'll see an uptick in US orders, Canada to US shipping. So I'll see someone from the United States come in and, buy cases from me, because the Canadian prices, they just move up slower than the United States. From the perspective of the market, I think singles are still as strong as ever, and people are you're starting to see, there's still a lot of people buying Sword and Shield trainer galleries, Sword and Shield, not so much the Vs and VMAXs, that stuff has sort of gone away, but they're still trying to keep up with the alts, with the full arts, with the trainer galleries. Just today, I think 4 of my orders were almost entirely trainer gallery orders. I'm just picking TG 5, 6, 27, etc. So people are still buying a lot of the trainer galleries in Sword and Shield here, but you're definitely starting to see an uptick in the amount of purchases for Scarlet and Violet. People are going back, looking and finding the arts now. You're starting to see people, like, they're realizing that, okay, it's time to work on that Paldea Evolved binder. Oh, that's another thing. So Paldea and Evolved is going up in US. Hasn't really ticked at all here in Canada. So everybody still has a lot. Prices are not really moving very much for any of the Scarlet and Violet. 151 obviously was the best set, but what happened here in Canada is supply has been met, or demand has been met. Costco came in with their boxes. So Costco can sell 151 cheaper than I can get it. So I, I'm not going to go and buy from Costco um, to sell. There's some people on the Facebook marketplaces who are doing that, but myself and these other sellers that I talk to who have distribution, we realize that it's not something you should do. So most of us don't. I think some they might restock the rip and ship with some Costco stuff, but they're not, selling Alakazam and Zapdos boxes from Costco. And I don't think anybody should be. Sure, if you do a little rip and chip and you need some 151, it makes sense. But yeah, so the markets are down here in Canada. It's going to be down all summer. We're going to see how was it clouded shroud or shrouded cloud the next set. We're going to see how that one does. We're still looking at the Japanese cards that are coming out. Um, the Houndoom, I think, came out today. It was pretty cool. I really liked the Beware. I like that art. I had very like, not gonna say it, but he looked very ominous, like he was about to do something very bad to you. So, the Beware remind me a little bit of what's the Disney movie, Big Hero 6. I hope I got that right. Big Hero 6, where just ominous entity overlooking you and all fluff. But yeah, really very cool. Beware was released, so it's Clouded Shroud is going to be a cool small specialty set. I'm probably not going to overorder, except I'm going to try to get as many of those Greninja boxes as possible. Those Greninja boxes are Scarlet and Violet's probably their first nice collection box. I mean, the Charizard was okay. The Gyarados was okay. They should have been a set, not GameStop exclusive. But I think the Greninja box coming with Shrouded Cloud or Shrouded something. I think that'll be the first really good collection box because of that Greninja. It's very neat. It's almost nicer than the Greninja that's inside of Twilight Masquerade. So yeah, hopefully you guys, if you're in the selling market or if you're in the buying market, you're seeing better. You're seeing your product move. Singles is always there's always action in singles, and it's always entertaining. They're just a ton of work. You got to work. You got to do a lot. And I am not full time, so basically I get an order, I'll squeeze out in the morning. If I get an order throughout the day, I'll squeeze it out in the evening, send it, and Bob's your uncle. Anyway, this was a market chat about Canada. I hope it adds some value. Canada is a very different market than the United States. Hopefully, the United States is still having fun with Pokemon. We are here in Canada, but I think there's a little bit of a drawback, and everyone's feeling it. Everyone's realizing that, that the tides are changing as well. You can see that Scarlet and Violet is starting to become what people are interested in. The last bits of Sword and Shield are disappearing from shelves. The Sword and Shield singles are being like consumed by collectors, and collectors, it's permanent, right? It's in their basement, it's in their binder, and it's done. You're not going to see that card come to market anymore. And I think that's what happened with Sword and Shield right now. Is collectors are now consuming. They believe it's probably at its lowest, and it's going to be permanent. There's some cards that are just, there's too many of them for them to be at lowest, but the ones that are hard to get, I think they're going to start sticking in people's binders and being there permanently, and the tides are going to change to Scarlet and Violet. And everyone, I mean, no one will disagree. Scarlet and Violet cards are beautiful, interesting storytelling pieces of cards. I think they have all the appeal except for the ridiculously difficult hit rates of Sword and Shield. But who knows? We might see some really interesting things from Scarlet and Violet yet. Everybody's expecting something more special to come from Scarlet and Violet, something that is more appealing, more fancy, that becomes a real chase, but we haven't seen it yet. Right now, it's still SARs, SAR Village. What's the next SAR? Hopefully, there'll be something interesting that we'll see soon. I mean, we even had shiny SARs, and they have not done the best, right? So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys found this chat slightly interesting. I just got an order, so I'm gonna have to go fill it before my workday starts. And I guess I'll just run this video when I get it uploaded. Have you guys a great afternoon, evening, weekend, fun stuff.